Vice President Biden is in New York today, chairing a special meeting at the UN Security Council on Iraq, even as the White House prepares to release its year-end review of the war strategy for Afghanistan. The White House is expected to claim progress on the war front. That is undercut by grim new intelligence reviews obtained by the New York Times. Steve Clemons is a senior fellow at the New York America Foundation. Steve, thanks so much. Elizabeth Boomiller is reporting the New York Times has these intelligence reports indicating that while the administration may want to talk about the progress they've made, Kandahar and the like, that really until Pakistan gets a grip on those strongholds, those Taliban strongholds, they will not be able to stop the violence in Afghanistan.
Well, I think Elizabeth's report was right on the money, and we still continue to face the problem where certain elements of the Pakistan official intelligence operation look at the Taliban in Afghanistan as their ally. And they have not, while there has been some progress in pushing against parts of the Taliban in Pakistan, there are major pockets that they just haven't touched. And so this continues to keep the situation very fragile and unstable, and I think undermines the ability of the Pentagon to say that it's really making the kind of progress that it had hoped to.
Now they're putting out that, of course, the progress they've made, they say, is since October, that the surge,
right,
while ordered last year, actually did that the troops were not on the ground until September. So after October, they started making a lot of progress in Kandahar. That seems a little bit thin as far as spin is concerned.
Look,
because
the surge, the rise of the 30,000 troops has been going on over this past year, and they've only recently reached maximum level. The number of Afghan security forces that they've been training have been increasing, and there are some positive things to show. But overall, what the Pentagon seems to be saying is we're going to ignore what these intelligence estimates are saying, and kind of like a student in a class saying we're doing better at the very end of the class, they're saying we're going to be able to deliver now. The problem is President Obama gave those 30,000 troops in return for committed deliverables by the Pentagon, and despite what we're going to hear tomorrow, we're going to hear that the president thinks the strategy is sound. They're going to reaffirm some beginning of a process in July 2011, but that 2014 is the real let's close up the shop date, depending on the conditions on the ground. They're not going to be able to say the Pentagon has really delivered on what they promised, and that is beneath the veneer of the positive story they're going to try and sell tomorrow.
And Steve, when we talk about these intelligence reports, these are two separate reports which were done by the 16 intelligence agencies. I mean, if you don't trust the 16 intelligence agencies, then you've got to really rethink your strategy. National
intelligence estimates are very serious enterprises. Exactly. They're not trivial. They've got lots of players involved with them. And you're absolutely right. So for the Pentagon to come in and play spoiler and say, well, this is really off, really undermines the fact that you've had hundreds of people and thousands of man-hours involved in very complex assessments of where things are. And the grade right now is probably about a D. And that's hard to overcome when you're looking at the deployment of American men and women and spending $120 billion a year in the fiscal year 11 budget request in a country with $14 billion of GDP. And a lot of Americans just don't get it.
Which is the bottom line, exactly. Steve Clemons from the New America Foundation, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea.
And join us tomorrow. I'll be heading over to the UN